Hey there guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing a tier list on my favorite horror series of all time, and that is the Saw series. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, so here we go. So the tiers today are, the first one is top tier story and gore. The second one is one but not both, meaning it's either a top tier story or top tier gore, but it doesn't quite hit both marks for me. The third one is needed a little more time, and then the fourth one is what were they thinking, and then the fifth one and the lowest tier is they went a little too far. So without further ado, let's start. So Saw 1. Now Saw 1, okay, I personally do like the storytelling quite a bit. It is the first in a series, so that is definitely worth something. I mean, you have to make it, honestly, A or B tier already. Just for being the first in the series, it sprung all of this, obviously. And so for that, I think I'm going to put it in A tier. It is one but not both, quite literally. So it has the very good storytelling, but then it doesn't have a lot of gore in it, which I think really lacks in this movie. Granted, they filmed it in like 2 weeks, so I mean, you can't really complain with that placement of it. It does kind of have, Lawrence Gordon and, oh my god, what's the other guy's name? I don't remember the other guy's name, but he, and Lawrence basically are stuck in this bathroom. They have to escape. The twist in it, it's a pretty good twist. I got to admit, like, when I remember seeing this the first time, I didn't know Saw had twists or anything at the end. But when they did that twist at the end and they pulled that out, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, how in the hell is that what's going on? Like, that was insane. And yeah, I loved it. I love the movie for what it is. I know that is a controversial opinion. A lot of people either hate it or love it. There's not really an in-between. There's not like, it's okay. But, yeah. Alright, Saw number 2. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one. Saw number 2 is the one where Amanda gets placed back into the games. And boy, I got to admit, I'm not the biggest Saw 2 fan. I know a lot of people do love this movie, so for me to say I'm not a big fan, first of all, I think not a ton of the traps are very memorable. I mean, the only one I really remember is the needle pit. And that is single-handedly, like, the only trap you ever hear people say. Like, they also have the Chinese finger trap thing with the arms above the head. They've got the oven trap where, Abby, I believe his name is, goes in. And yeah, and then, the twist at the end is a pretty big twist. I mean, the twist is certainly there. But the traps are really not that memorable, and I think they could have done a little better with it had they had more time. That being said, I know this is going to be probably the most controversial placing on this tier list. I think Saw 2 is probably in a what were they thinking? The twist is pretty good. I'm going to say that. The gore, there is there is quite a bit towards the end, but like throughout it, it's not very sprinkled in. The twist at the end is really good. The main character is kind of annoying the whole time, and especially Mark Wahlberg's character is it Mark Wahlberg? It's not Mark. It's the other brother. I don't remember his name. What is his name? What's the other? Hey, let's look it up, guys. What's the other Wahlberg? Oh. Donnie, right? Donnie Wahlberg. Yeah, I think it's Donnie. Donnie Wahlberg's character is, all in all, in my opinion, not my favorite character in the series at all. He doesn't even hit like top tier for me. You still get John as like your main antagonist, which is really good. You got to admit, John is just such a cool character to have. Of course, you got Amanda in this one. And yeah, it is really, really good to see all of those characters returning and the same actors. Of course, I love when movies do that. But all in all, it's not my favorite at all. Now, I will say, guys, huge spoiler warning. Now, I know I should have said that probably in the beginning. There is a huge spoiler warning going into this. So if you don't want spoilers, the following are definitely going to have some major spoilers for the series. Because if you don't know Saw Intertwined, the more it goes. And so, yeah, major spoilers. Thank you all. Here we go. Saw 3. Okay, Saw 3 is an absolute masterpiece. I'm just going to cut the gun and say it, like, right now. Saw 3 is easily probably one of my favorites. It isn't my favorite, but it definitely is up there. It has a great story. The twist is absolutely phenomenal with the game not really being for Jeff and actually being, you know, Amanda's game. Amanda turns bad, is rigging traps, becomes a serial killer, quite literally what Jigsaw despises. It is beautifully crafted, and honestly, Saw 3 has some of the best gore we've seen, especially with the the ending trap where it twists the guy's head at the crucifix one. The rack, that's what he calls it. The pig trap's just super gross. Yeah, it does have one of the best storylines ever made in any Saw movie ever. I absolutely love it. I'm going to go straight up to top tier story and gore. This movie is phenomenal. And yeah, it just quite frankly hits top tier for me. Next up, Saw 4. Okay, so Saw 4 I do struggle with placing. On the one hand, the main character is very likable. They change up the Saw genre quite a bit, as he is kind of on a scavenger hunt, which is cool. The twist at the end absolutely blew my brain cells bonkers the first time I freaking saw this movie. I literally was like, what? And yeah, I think for sure Saw 4, I struggle with this one as well because I do want to place it in the top tier story and gore. I love the direction they took with it. The gore is absolutely on point. It is super bloody, super disgusting. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and place it in the top tier story and gore. The twist is phenomenal and just a really insane movie all around. This is the one where the cop is asked to see what Jigsaw sees and basically has to go and like try to save the criminals even though he doesn't want to. And then he kind of ends up changing his views on life a little bit, which is really interesting to see. Next up, Saw 5. Now, you guys are going to hate me. Saw 5 is my favorite Saw film of all time. And I'll tell you guys why. The whole idea of Saw 5 was so different. The whole, like, premise of working as a team to complete a task. And even the words he uses in, like, his little videotapes, he says, you 5 will become one. And then the ending. Now, this is definitely not the goriest film. I want to get that straight right off the bat. Until the ending, there is very little gore. But once that ending freaking hits, it hits you like a truck. It is the goriest ending to a Saw film, I think, to date. It is absolutely gnarly to see. And honestly, this one made my stomach the queasiest. I did actually, the first time I saw it, have to look away from the scene at the end. And it's just insane. Now, if you don't know what trap I'm referring to, it's the blood scale trap. And my god, this thing is freaking nuts. I do like the key trap in the beginning too. Very creative. The electricity trap's cool. And yeah, I don't really like the trap where they have to like break the jars on the roof. Not that one so much, but like the rest of the traps are pretty solid. And the storytelling's very, very good throughout it. One thing I would probably say is ending is not the craziest ending in the world, but definitely a really cool one. I think easily one of the better Saw films. I'm going to put it in, even though it's my favorite, I'm going to put it in one but not both. I don't think it has enough gore to be considered a top tier story and gore, but I do think it has the story and the ending scene to carry it up there for sure. Um, and yeah, now for Saw 6. Now, Saw 6, if I remember correctly, Saw 6 is the one with. Is it the attorney? I think Saw 6 is the attorney one. Yeah, Saw 6 is the attorney one. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically there's this health insurance provider, and he deems John not worthy because of his cancer. Now, of course, John Kramer, being the man he is like, but why? Like, really, I mean, I think it is kind of messed up, health insurance already. So I did like this one going in. Um, and honestly, it was a really interesting take on the whole situation of insurance. And I had never really thought about it as being kind of a scam. But then, like, when John points it out, it is kind of a scam. Like, the people who actually need the money don't get it. And it is, kind of an insane concept. Now, I personally loved the concept of this film. I loved everything that it was centered around. However, and the twist is very good. I think this is definitely up there. Definitely way, way up there. This propels it probably, in my opinion. I'm going to say, and the twist at the end is pretty good. I mean, the twist, I didn't talk about it enough. The twist at the end is pretty freaking nuts. And you kind of find out a lot about the story. Honestly, it is good, but it's not my favorite, and it really doesn't bring anything new to the table. Gory, the ending is, but the rest of it isn't. And the story, while it's great, I also think it could have been a little bit better. I'm going to put needed a little bit more time. I definitely think, honestly, no, I'm going to change my vote here. I'm going to put it in one, but not both. I really, really like Saw 6. I think it's a really good story. And I do kind of like the traps quite a bit. Like, the first trap is a CPAP machine, and it is just awesome. Like, the whole lung crusher trap is so cool. The whole, like, risk assessment traps are awesome. The maze trap was cool, and then the twist at the end of the maze trap was cool. Honestly, it has quite a bit of cool stuff. So, yeah. Next up, Saw 7. Okay. Now, Saw 7, if I'm not mistaken, which one is Saw 7 again? There's so many Saws that all kind of blend together. Oh, yeah, something I didn't even mention about Saw 6, really quick, before we move on. Saw 6, I mean, for one, you get possibly one of the most important backstories about John Kramer's kid, Gideon. And you absolutely get one of the most important plot points. You have Mark Hoffman as well, and all these characters coming to light. I do think that does propel it up there. I really forgot to talk about the backstory that happens in that. But learning about Gideon is so huge to the Saw franchise. I mean, that propelled the entire series. All right, Saw 7. Saw 7's the one with the book author, who is like a Jigsaw victim, but gets replaced in the traps, and you don't find out why until the end. Now, I'm not going to spoil the ending here because it is a pretty dang cool twist. And honest to God, I actually really like this movie. The story to this is awesome. The traps are really good. The ending is gnarly. I mean, it is all around really cool. The story's great. Mark is awesome in this, Mark Hoffman. Honest to God, I'm putting this one right up to top tier story and gore. I know it's another controversial one. Like 3 and 4, you guys can probably see my points, but like 7, okay, you get some really cool backstory. You get so much just carnage in this, and it is just brutal. You feel every one of those traps so much. And yeah, it is just quite frankly, one of the better movies, in my opinion, as well. I could go back and rewatch that one and not mind. Same with Saw 4 and Saw 3. Um, Saw 5 as well, I could rewatch every time. But, yeah, that's just my opinion. Honestly, guys, I'm thinking of bumping Saw 5 up even. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it. I will put it ahead of Saw 1, though. I will put everything, for the most part, in that row ahead of Saw 1. I think Saw 5 is much better than Saw 1, but that's my personal opinion. Jigsaw. Oh my god. Okay, Jigsaw, where do we put you? On one hand, the twist at the end is pretty cool. Kind of lame, but also pretty cool. Oh, man. A lot of the traps are good, too. Just the new cast of characters wasn't the way to go, in my opinion. I don't know. They kind of just forget about Hoffman as well. And I'm going to put Jigsaw. Oh, man. I'm going to put Jigsaw in Needed a Little More Time. It was rough. I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of really cool traps. I preferably like the motorcycle spiral thing. That trap is awesome. I like the first Milkhead trap as well. Those are really it for the ones I liked. The grain silo trap isn't so much of a trap as more of like, can your teammate do this or will they fail? Like, I don't know. It's not very, very good of a trap, but you know, it is what it is at the end. Yeah, I must say need a little more time. They should have thought that one out a little bit. Oh Lord, Spiral. Spiral is a lot. Okay, so Spiral on the one hand, they leave it so open-ended, and that's it. There's no second Spiral. There's nothing. They leave it really open-ended. And because of that, honestly, I'm gonna be pretty harsh on Spiral. A lot of the traps not very memorable. I remember them only because I rewatched it like a year ago. But honestly, like these traps are the least memorable. The Saw killer voice thing is not as cool as like the OG John voice. Um, Excuse me, guys. And yeah, I'm going to say they went a little too far on this one. I think Spiral is easily one of the weaker entries in this franchise. Chris Rock being in it, in my opinion, wasn't the best route to go at all. Same with Samuel L. Jackson. I did not think he needed to be in these films. While they are amazing in other films, I do not think they should have come over to Saw, but that's my opinion. I know people either love or hate this movie, and unfortunately, I was one of the ones who did not like it so much. And yeah, that's honestly my standing of it. The ending twist was completely callable, like the whole movie. I don't know. I didn't find it all that good. Next up, you have Saw X. Now, Saw X is another one that I'm going to be pretty harsh on. They built so much hype around this, and I was so excited. I mean, it is the 10th film in a series that is absolutely huge for a horror film series, especially Saw. And man, Saw X's traps were really, really cool. You had the taxi trap, you have the mask trap, you have the brain trap, you have a lot of solid. You have the X-ray machine trap. Honestly, this was really, really solid. Now, the twist at the end absolutely sucked. I'm gonna be honest. The twist at the end wasn't even a twist. And for that, I unfortunately have to place it down on the tier list. While I love the traps, the actual storytelling was kind of garbage. And the whole, like, twist was so bad, it shouldn't have even been called Saw at that point. But yeah, I'm gonna push this one. I love the traps in this, which is the only reason it's getting a little higher up. I'm gonna say needed a little more time. If they would have had a little more time to think out that twist, I think it would have done a lot better. I love the little boy in it. I love Jigsaw. I love that Jigsaw and the little boy get trapped. It's really, really cool. And you do get Shawnee Smith reprising her role as Amanda, one of the best characters in the Saw franchise, in my opinion. So it does propel it quite a bit with just its OG cast coming back. But honestly, the story in it is okay, but the twist is really sucky. Um, yeah, Saw X is gonna be a little bit rough for me, but yeah, that was my ranking of all of these Saw films. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you all in the next one. If you guys want me to do more tier lists, definitely drop a comment saying do more. I could do the Halloween franchise. I'm thinking about Jeepers Creepers, stuff like that. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out and have a great rest of everyone's day. Bye, guys.